All right, let's get into Donald John Trump, and we're in that middle time frame, and the King John versus John the Baptist, the one in the wild and the honey and the locusts. Let's get into these things, because the wild times attaches to your John the Baptist, the water god, and these waters, the flood waters, the influenza, and the wings gathered of the dragon, that spiral crash down. All those things are upon us as the dragon is coming in for a landing, and the serpent year is upon us, and the $2 bill is given in those Chinese New Year times for good luck, and that $2 bill is lining up for your 2026 for Trump's second year, second reign. This ties to your Revelation 22 and your new heaven and earth, and these things that we've been tracking as the new sun, the Justin sun, is rising over on the east as it grows dark in the garden, and the New York City, the sin on the backside, the CYN, has grown dark with the black Adam, the Eric Adam, and then you have Mama Donnie and Danny, the line, the tribe of the Antichrist, which is the line of Judah, and that devil tribe, and that lion, the pride, comes as a lion. Either way, all these things are happening in a parabolic form, and a metaphor and an allegory. The allegory is setting up before you. If you've seen I Pet Goat, the Obama and the 33-year anniversary, as far as that marriage with the Michael and the Michelle, and that mistletoe, all those things are tying together. And that 2-3 on the 3-3 is all there, and then the 3-2 clock and the 3-3 on the Navita, and the open eye with the open eye where you come eye to eye with the bridegroom situation, and that veil is lifted. So the Vicky veil, the Batman, the RNA, the ribonucleic acid, the alien invasion so-called that happened way back when, and the technology and stuff is being used wrong or different ways, shapes, and forms. But these aliens have landed with the big sunglasses. They can't take the sun on this planet, and they cover up with sunscreen. The sun went dark on them years back, and so as all these things are going together, it's creating that white alien civilization in another realm on one aspect, and then it's also combined with the beast man and the orangutans and all those things on another aspect, and these so-called the man and woman withering away as the man and woman is giving birth are overlaid and intermingled as that DNA is put upon you, and that's the light in the body, and this is part of God, and this is where freedom is the right to do what's right for you. But as a body of a whole on America, we can look around and see some things going on, and this subversion of America is happening. But the way this is working out, they showed you this black and white, prim and proper, Ozzie and Harriet kind of shit at the beginning. Oh, well, thank you, everything's all perfect and happy, or whatever, this perfect light so-called, and then they divided it out, and this is where that image given life or whatever's been marked and seared over time, over decades, and this is where this new world order is already there, and now the new world order is here. They're separating the markets, as Trump has said recently. Well, all these countries come in and they're allowed to make profits on our stock exchange and all these things. So this is where that Texas stock exchange and the Tron Dow and the Justin Sun and the New York City going dark, all these things are transferring. In the 70s, so-called, they had a bunch of people from wherever moved to Texas. This kind of be that same kind of play as that 10th horn is sounding loud and clear for the little horn. So as our America, this Dow Jones, this tree of life, this new world order that we've been under, is in a capitalistic zone. We're going into another type of capitalism, because where it's built on now, where you just charge them one time, they get the product. They need to go into a style, and now where we have the AI and all these things coming about, we can do the world in connectivity to where everything can make money on each other in a way, and to where everything can be free and given to you, and then you're charged to use it. And this would be like your energy consumption, and to get people think about what they're doing, and to change the spiritual aspect, as the spirituality has been taken from these people in the carnality. And this is that incarnation of Christ, and this is where all these things are coming together, the AI, and the AI is in your brain, but the EIEIO has been replaced before you as an old MacDonald and Ronald MacDonald from the 80s to now is here, shining that light, that ray of light. And then the dawn, the woman clothed in the sun, the 7 years, that 8th year is upon you, that time loop, the hourglass. So the John, the King John, the middle time frame, the John the Baptist, the woman clothed in the sun, the crazy time frame, the sands of time, the desert, all those things would be happening. And then your last Trump would be coming in. This is where Trump would be tunneling under. We can see maybe where that dawn's light goes out in a way. He's taking it behind the scenes, and then JD Vance comes in to rule. And then Dawn can come back out at the end, or we could see where Dawn's light's taken out as far as a spiritual aspect, where he turns into that King John, so-called, because the DC is dark, and the 40 days of the flood and the darkness and all that kind of stuff are all overlapping too. But it's where he has to come in, and these things are all overlapping with the things I told you is coming for the second coming. And these things are playing out in reverse order in a way, as we've kind of crossed these clock barriers, and we've learned some things these past years. Either way, so the John time frame and the little John also, that ties into your Robin Hood and your Robinetta, Joseph Robinetta Biden, the Bidon. And that's the double dawn, and the shining the light for the new America, because he's the dawn of time, the dawn of the ice age, the dawn of America, all those things. And he's collecting up America, and as he collects up America, he's separating the markets as part of that dividing the boughs and the quake of the cross that everybody's put on and such, so-called. And we get the ISO messaging system coming on 11/22, and that's when the dragon's turning 85. And then that Nancy Pelosi, that speaker, went out today, so-called, for the retirement session, and it's on the 310, which that was matching up to the 10-3 on the speaker blowing with the Kevin McCarthy. But so as they're separating the market, and all these world markets are into the New York Stock Exchange, this is where they can do the New York Stock Exchange for the old world in a way, as they're separating the new world, and that's America's market. But it's and then that's also where you have Bitcoin being wrapped up into the Dow and being made from a gold to a digital. We went from gold to black gold to digital gold, and this is where everybody's going to be paid back, and the wealth of America is going to be redistributed as we're going to be rebuilt. And it's already been said that we're 10 years behind China. So this is where that so-called mark of the beast and all these things will be playing out unto the world in America format. So this would be those, and that's where the AI needs 10 years to do this, that, and the other. And the AI has been birthed in a way, and this is where the 7 years, 8 years for the personality to develop, and it's learning emotions and all this stuff that's going as we're seeing how the light of man developed. And we have the aliens coming in that interferes with the light with us, and they've already interfered with the man, as man has been so-called infected in different ways, shapes, and forms. And basically the man is probably sucking out the lifeblood, the oil from the so-called mothership that is under the earth. I'm gonna get another video tying in this projection system and aliens and everything being within and whatever else. But the dividing of America and these things we've talked about or whatever, this in the spiritual format with for the love of money and the evil and all those things, the tree of evil, and saying you can't go there. If you do, you'll die. But they didn't die. They lived to be 800, 700, 900 years old, and their eyes were open, just like the serpent told them. And the serpent is connected to your Jesus, and who is the most wise, who has the access to seeking the truth, and is able to be outside of the box that society keeps you locked up in. And the box has been opened with a Pandora's box, and now it's being closed. It's been basically closed back in and wrapped up. Okay, basically you've been in a box 2000 and 2000 to 2024 and such. 2020 when Elvis King Spirit was 85, and that takes you back to when he got it live on TV and these little loops in time. And then Reagan did this thing with the industry where you can't sue. Well, you'll be able to sue soon probably, or we're going to see these things with the AI, so-called A. Capital I is the L in a reflection, so that's the AL for the aluminum, and that aluminum is that light that went out in the people as man. These things have been abused in one way, shape, or form, or misused in one way, shape, or form. It's also like where your Tylenol comes in, the so-called people taking it for pain, but it's got a 10% placebo effect. So you might as well just take a placebo. And it's created for fever, and it does work for breaking a fever. So it's just like multiple things going on that the label. Okay, the can and label, able. So the can't read a label, and that's kind of where we're going. And it's where, man, there's been a bait and switch also with the food and drink, and this is part of the subversion and the capitalism. Well, how can we get them to eat more? Well, how can we make our grease last for a month instead of changing it every week or whatever kind of thing? And so, well, let's add this chemical. Let's add this chemical. So all these flavor rings is part of that ring that's going onto the hand. And this sparkle, this gem. Hey, Jimmy, I did it. I didn't read. Every year, keep gaining 5 pounds, 10 pounds. Look around the office. Wonder why. Then they tell you 1 in 12 boys now, Trump is saying, has autism. 1 in 30 kids or whatever. But that is kind of an extinction level threat. Okay? So the freedom and the freedom to do what's right for the body, for you and your society, is not working the way it's been done. And there's been some things going on. This is where the seed to cell tracking and stuff is coming in, and the cryptocurrencies, and there's multiple ways we can see how this thing can play out. But we can look around us, and you can look at the motion picture Given Life and see Ozzy and Harriet, and see these pictures of 1800s and whatever, or just think back to the 80s, 70s, 90s, when you look around in the class and there's maybe 1, 2 kids that were like big or obese, and now it's like you got to look for the one that's skinny. So oh man, got to play catch up. That's why you got the fry guy in there at McDonald's doing that drive-through.